Hello everyone, welcome back to the 5 Minute Tech channel. Today we will be talking about the software developer learning path in 2023 and how it looks like. This is little more comprehensive and more detailed as compared to my last version of the learning path which was released in 2022. So for more granular details you can revisit that video, and in this video we'll be talking about a little more advanced level of developer learning path. So let's get started with that. So this is the complete view of the software developer learning path. We'll be going through each of these areas one by one, and for that we will be going in detail into each of the subsections, which is a defined area of learning. So let's get started. So the first area of learning is programming languages. Now here it's good to have any combination of languages that you should be aware of or well versed in. Example is a C Sharp or a JavaScript or a TypeScript, Python, Java with the JavaScript. So any combination of a client and server based technology will help you design and implement an application. Moving on to the next part, we have the architectural design and the characteristics. The architectural design basically refers to things like microservices, master slave implementation, a pub sub implementation, a layered approach to your application implementation, event driven. If you write an application which is event driven, you can even implement sharding or caching. That is the basic different types of design architectural designs. Next is architectural characteristics. In architectural characteristics, we need to be aware of three subsections, which is creational, structural, and behavioral areas. So we have extensibility, consistency, availability, observability. Then we have agility, resiliency, durability, security, and scalability. All these are the characteristics of an efficient architecture. Now, if we dive into more details, you will find that there are some granular details, which is how you can implement it. So the next is the team and processes. This is essential for a developer. So the next is team and processes. It is aware of things like Agile, Scrum, Kanban, Lean, and also something like a design decisions. How will you make a decision on whether to go ahead with a particular implementation using POC or proof of technology, which is POT. Then we have certain things which can be given to you in terms of leadership or mentoring. You will also have to have a certain knack for problem solving, critical thinking. You maybe should be aware of something like an estimation, how to evaluate, collaborate, strategize, communicate, and negotiate your work items. Moving on, next we have design principles and patterns. Now in design principles and patterns, we have different areas which we need to be aware of or learn, something like an ACID principle or CAP theorem, OOPS, gang of four design patterns. How are the actors working in the particular pattern? The domain driven, the test driven development, and the behavioral driven development processes, and also how to write clean. So as you see here, we have a creational design pattern for handling object mechanism. Structural pattern is basically the some things which you use for identifying ways to realize relationship between objects. And then behavioral are basically handling communication between different objects. Along with this, you have to also think of a design in terms of problem partitioning. You have to have an abstraction, then modularity of your design, and also follow a top-down or bottom-up approach on how you can distribute the implementation in terms of modules. Also, you have to follow certain programming principles on how you should be writing your code, like line length, spacing, well documentation of your code, length not exceeding a particular limit, don't use goto statement, inline comment or error messages should be handled properly. So the next section is about operations and tools that you should be aware of in your day-to-day development, software development life cycle. So you are in a phase wherein you're going through a planning, continuous feedback, operate, deploy, continuous integration, and deployment. This is basically the work of a CI/CD engineer, but a developer should be aware of what's happening at the background. Example is, how is the container orchestration done, what are the cloud providers you are using, infrastructure as a code, and then we have a distributed system, how they are working together, CI/CD configuration basics on how it is configured, cloud design principles. So there are specific principles which are associated with cloud architecture. We are having a serverless design, load balancer, CDN, and gateway configuration, how it is getting configured, Confluent, Sonar, Jenkins, JMeter, Postman, Splunk, and ELK are certain other tools which you should be aware of. Moving on, next is integration and communication. So this is about how your application services or modules communicate with each other. They could be basically communicating through a REST protocol, SOAP, a GraphQL, WebSocket, gRPC, message queue, or the way the API orchestration happens. So these are some specific knowledge areas that will help you design your APIs. The next is how you are handling your data. So these are more about how you are writing your PL/SQL, how you are managing your SQL database, NoSQL data, and some knowledge on an advanced data analytics and data science. So that will also help in designing your databases. So the next is security, like OAuth, Open Connect, and how you're configuring it. TLS, whether you are using as a trust store or a key store. JW token and its configuration. Encryption, how you're implementing your encryption, and the credential manager. So this is pretty much about the software developer learning path in 2023. Please provide your feedback if there is anything that needs to be improved upon. Thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day. Bye.